Okay. I know, except we're having a technical difficulty, so. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's working. Elisa, it's working. Yeah. All right. While you guys all get started, just a quick few public service announcements. For an emergency, please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. Bathrooms located out the door to my left, women's room to the right, men's room to the left. We allow 30 minutes for public speaking. If you have not done so, please sign up at the podium. Please note that the council has rules of decorum for our meetings, including the public speaking portion. We ask that respect be shown to all, whether they serve on the council, on the staff, or are here as public members. As noted on the signage, we do not allow weapons of any sort. Signs mounted on wood, metal, or similar material, or signs larger than 19 by 24. This will help guarantee that we follow the open meeting law. Not only are we here tonight to listen to the voices of the public, but we are also here to run government proceedings. To best serve us all, we cannot have any distractions. When a speaker is addressing the council, no disruptions are permitted. This includes talking over, yelling, and clapping. When this body proceeds with the day's business, we also need no disruptions. As per open meeting law, section 103, interruption of a speaker or government proceedings will not be tolerated. After one warning, anyone interrupting a speaker or the proceedings of tonight's meeting will be removed from chambers. I am now calling this common council meeting to order at 7:40 p.m. on December 2nd, 2025. If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Pasty? Alderman Tierney?
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress?
Here.
Alderman Edwards?
Here.
Alderman Mickens?
Here.
Alderman Dennison?
Here.
Alderman Andrews? Alderman Shabbat?
Here.
Alderman Hirsch?
Here.
We have a quorum. Can I get a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting
Motion.
and approve same? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Jeannie Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills?
Motion.
Motion by Michelle Hirsch, second by
Second.
Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. It's helpful when you guys are all here because then I remember the number. As council members, we have the privilege of working alongside some of the best, and we witness department heads and city staff deliver for the city day after day. Tonight, we recognize and honor our first responding departments, DPW, KFD, and KPD. Public Works, Fire Department, and Police Department, with the Common Council Community Award as a small token of our appreciation for all the work the departments do to make Kingston a better place to live, work, and play. They were selected by Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, and at this time, I invite Superintendent Ed Norman, Fire Chief Chris Ray, and Police Chief Egidio Tinti to the podium to accept the awards on behalf of their respective departments.
Working. Thank you for being here tonight. I've been doing this Alder thing for 10 years now, and I've seen in that time the work that you do as the leaders of your departments, but also the work that all of your personnel do. I've been thoroughly impressed, heartened, and just amazed at what you all go through, you and all the people in your departments. You work at the highest parts of our city, and you work in the lowest parts of our city. You work in some of the most public places, public possibilities of all, but also some of the most private and intimate and difficult to get to places. We know that this is not easy. We know that the work you do is absolutely essential to the survival of our city as well as the goodness of our community. Often, we complain about the taxes that we pay. I understand that. I have to pay them myself, and at the same time, I think we often lose sight of what we're getting for those taxes. We buy the services, we buy the life-saving services that you provide. We buy the taking away of our refuse, our garbage, the fixing of our streets that you provide. We buy all of the services that the police provide, from patrolling the streets to helping our neighbors to working with people to understand how the law works here at a very intimate level. So because of that, here in my last month as an alderperson, I wanted to make it clear that we've seen what you do, we know what you do, and we appreciate every single one of the people who works in your departments. So as a small token of our esteem, I have here some certificates, and you're going to have to cut them up so that each person in your departments can get a part of it. It'll be like, I remember when I was a kid, the Monkees came to my hometown and they raised money. That's a band for you young people. That was very popular in the 60s. And they cut up the sheets of the Monkees, the ones they slept on in the hotel room, and they sold like 1-inch squares for $1. My father bought Mickey Dolenz. Everybody knows Mike Nesmith was the cool one. Anyway, so here is the certificate for Public Works. I hope you can find a way to share that with all of the people in your department. Here is for the Kingston Fire Department. There we go. And here is for KPD. And these are for all the people in your various divisions. I don't know if any of you want to say anything.
I would like to thank all my staff members. They're the true backbone of this city and my department. Without them, I could not do what I do. So this goes to them, and I will accept it for them this evening. No, I'm good.
So we understand very clearly that you all are the first responders in all kinds of situations, and we appreciate that. I also want to put to rest any idea that you all ever play favoritism to members of the Common Council, because just tonight, as I was getting dressed to come here, I look out my window after having spent an hour with my wife clearing our driveway, and a big DPW truck comes right down the road and fills my driveway with snow. So I'm out there in my suit and tie. So I just want to make that clear to everyone that you all equal opportunity all the way down. Yes, thank you so much.
We now enter the public speaking portion of the meeting. We have allotted 30 minutes for this purpose. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Please be aware that I will give a verbal 30-second warning. If there are remaining speakers after 30 minutes, I will call for a motion from the council to extend the period for another 30 minutes. Speakers, direct your comments to the chair, as council members cannot engage in debate during this time. Please state your name and address on the record before you begin. There could be no distractions from the audience in chambers or on Zoom when a speaker addresses the council. The Common Council has also received written comments for our consideration, and they could be found on the city's website under tonight's agenda. Can I have the first speaker, please? We don't have any speakers. Does anybody want to speak to us? And we had nobody on Zoom, so then I will close public speaking portion of the evening. We're now entering into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Jeannie Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. We're now entering into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 187.
Resolution 187 of 2025. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting a 2026 general fund budget with expenditures totaling $63,351,762, with amendments to the mayor's 2026 recommended budget as follows.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Madam President, I move to amend the resolution as follows. Per the discussion at Finance last night, resolution number 187 of 2025 general fund expenditure budget should be amended on the floor as follows. Increase Corp Counsel's salary by an additional $28,550 plus $6,609 benefits. $35,159 expenditure increase in the assistant, and then in the increase the assistant corp counsel salary by an additional $24,362 plus $5,640 for benefits for $30,002 expenditure increase. Decrease the corporation counsel consultant expense by $33,251. Net expenditure increase is $31,910 funded by an increase in the appropriation of fund balance. Thus, general fund budget of $63,351,762 increases by $31,910 to $63,383,672. This will not change the amount that we're asking for our taxpayers to pay.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second by Bob Dennison. On the question of the amendment, would anybody like to speak on that before I call for the vote? So this isn't voting on the budget, it would be voting on this amendment. Anybody would like to speak? Okay, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. And again, this is not voting the budget, it's voting for the amendment. And if I could have a show of hands, please. So all in favor? Okay, and opposed? All right, amendment passes 7-2. The dissents were Michelle Hirsch and Michael Tierney. Can we now have resolution 187 read again?
Resolution 187 of 2025. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting a 2026 general fund budget with expenditures totaling $63,383,672 with amendments to the mayor's 2026 recommended budget as follows.
On the question? Hearing no, Alderwoman Terrell Mickens.
Sorry about that. For my part, I would like to apologize to the residents of Kingston for the tax increases we will all have to absorb, and at this point, it stands as insult to injury given increased food prices, utilities, and insurance costs that we are all faced with. At the same time, I know and appreciate that great effort was expended on the part of this administration to moderate this budget as best they could. But here we are with a $63 million budget for a population of about 24,000 people. That's about $3,140 for every man, woman, and child. That's $12,500 for a family of four for context. My fear is that if these tax increases continue, residents will be voting with their feet, and many of those that will leave will be working age adults, just like the ones we see every month expressing their concerns about housing costs. When we as a council abide the equivalent of a 9% increase in taxes, they will be passed along to every household, including tenants. Tenants pay property taxes, water bills, utility bills, and insurance. The two factors are inextricably tied. The consequences of increasing taxes are real. Families will disperse. And when large numbers of working age adults leave, it affects the tax base, school enrollment, housing, markets, and workforce availability in key sectors. We see school closings for lack of students throughout Ulster County. So we as a council need to do better. Personally, I would have liked to have seen raises for the Common Council and the mayor eliminated, again, if only as a show of solidarity. I would have liked to see policy that would have required greater non-union employee contributions to their own health care costs, a review of all positions, smart budgeting, and finding intra-departmental efficiencies. Aside from which we could look at consolidating services, sharing services regionally with Ulster County and neighboring towns to reduce duplication and save money. I would have liked an analysis of how we could increase or revise user fees, service fees, permits, and licensing fees. But I do recognize that those measures in total could not have filled the gap in this budget, but perhaps together they could have softened the blow.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Bob Dennison.
I'll be voting in favor of the budget. I've taken the position, and I will continue to take the position, that we are not in a position to reduce services or to lay people off. I think we need to hold the budget. Things are getting more expensive. There's no doubt about that. I look to others, especially now that the federal government is wavering. I think it's important that we maintain our budget and maintain our strength at a local level to deliver services.
Thank you. Alderman Rainey Scott Childress.
I appreciate my fellow alderwoman's positions here. We're acutely aware of the needs of our citizens and the problem of increasing the taxes. At the same time, this particular budget, we actually have eliminated 20 positions, in essence, reducing our budget significantly because of that. No one was fired in this budget, and we want to point out that our 3 departments are right now working with pretty much the minimum number required for their services. It'd be very difficult for us to cut down into any of those positions. We also want to note that we had 8 years of no tax increases in the city of Kingston. While we don't want any increases at all, we do have to recognize the situation that the city is in fiscally. And that is the same as most of our residents. We are facing some sharp increases in places that we cannot control, such as the extensive increases in health costs, health insurance costs for the city. So, I'm always reluctant to raise taxes, but in this particular case, I think because of the situation that we're in, this is a time to really hold the budget and maintain the workforce that we have with these 20 positions let go of, but no people let go of. So I will be in favor of this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Michael Tierney and then Alderwoman Sarah Passy.
Thank you, President Schott. I appreciate that the work that we as a council have done on this budget. I think that we did diligently take a look and see where we could increase revenue and eliminate costs. But I think that we continue to underestimate the sales tax revenue. And I believe that because of the amendments that we've just made and the raises that we've given ourselves and other elected officials, I will be voting no.
Thank you. Alderwoman Sarah Passy.
I am going to be voting yes on this budget, but am I pleased to be voting on a budget that will be raising taxes on our residents and businesses to address the financial pressures in the city? No. But after meeting with the city's department heads and discussing the budget with my colleagues, I've concluded that to move the city forward in terms of public safety, city services, and necessary investments in our city infrastructure, this budget offers the best way forward for the city in light of what we are facing both locally and nationally. In 2026, I will work with my colleagues and city staff to see that we make the best use of the funds that we have allocated, with the hope that we may find some savings that can be put to use both next year and beyond. And last, I'd want to extend my gratitude to everyone who works for the city for their ongoing and extraordinary efforts on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
And thank you, Madam President. I will be a yes tonight. I think that the budget is about as pared down as possible that can be done. As my colleagues have mentioned, we have eliminated 20 positions that were in the budgets. We don't want to decrease any city services, but next year I'm committed to being extremely diligent in what this council approves on a month-to-month basis. We should be very prudent in looking at any bonding that goes forward next year, and it really has to be something that is absolutely needed. So I would also like to thank our city staff for all of their hard work, especially today, DPW for getting our streets clean so we could all arrive safely at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'd also like to just specifically thank our comptroller, John Toohey, for all the work he does on our budget. Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. And again, if you could raise your hands. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-2. The dissents were Michael Tierney and Terrell Mickens. Moving to Terrell and Michael. Moving to resolution number 188, please.
Resolution 188 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending the adoption of the 2026 general fund budget with a total to be raised by taxes of $21,496,726.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 189, please.
Resolution 189 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, in accordance with RPTL 1901 and RPTL 1903, recommended authorization to adopt a base proportion ratio of 57.02031 homestead and 42.97969 non-homestead for the 2026 tax levy.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 190, please.
Resolution 190 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting approval of the city's 2026 city sewer fund budget with total expenditures of $6,772,059.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 191, please.
Resolution 191 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, to approve the city's 2026 city sewer rate at an amount of $8.19 per unit.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 192, please.
Resolution 192 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the 2026 debt service fund budget with expenditures of $7,805,010.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 193, please.
Resolution 193 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting bond authorization in the amount of $830,000 to finance the city's 2026 capital plan.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 194, a bond ordinance. So I'll ask for a long roll, please.
Resolution 194 of 2025, bond ordinance dated December 2nd, 2025, an ordinance authorizing an issuance of $830,000 bonds of the City of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, to pay the cost of equipment in and for said city. Alderman Dennison. Alderman Andrews. Alderman Shabbat.
Yes.
Alderman Hirsch. Alderman Pasty. Alderman Tierney.
Yes.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Yes.
Alderman Edwards.
Yes.
Alderman Mickens.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 195, please.
Resolution 195 of 2025. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to expend funds in the first instance for the New York State Department of State Local Waterfront Revitalization Program, grant number C100261 in the amount of $552,500 for the Kingston Point Wetland Restoration and Public Access Improvement Project.
On the question, Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 196, please.
Resolution 196 of 2025, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the adoption of a bond ordinance in the sum of $650,000 for the Kingston Point Wetland Restoration Public Access Improvement Project.
On the question? Alderman Michael Tierney?
Thank you, President Schott. I just want to echo Alderwoman Hirsch's concerns about bonding in the future, and I wanted to explain why I am a yes on these ones. Our contribution for both of this one and the previous one, I had my hand up, but you didn't see, are actually a rather small percentage of the actual cost, which can also be paid in in-kind labor, which our city has committed to track. So I will be a yes on these two bonds. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. We were just planning dinner. Anyone else on resolution 196? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 197, please.
Resolution 197 of 2025, bond ordinance dated December 2nd, 2025, an ordinance authorizing financing of the Kingston Point Wetland Restoration and Public Access Improvement Project in and for the City of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $650,000 and authorizing the issuance of $650,000 bonds of said city to pay costs thereof. Alderman Andrews. Alderman Shabbat.
Yes.
Alderman Hirsch. Alderman Pasty.
Yes.
Alderman Tierney.
Yes.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Yes.
Alderman Edwards. Alderman Mickens.
Yes.
Alderman Dennison.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to the second reading of local law number 8 of 2025.
Local Law 8 of 2025 of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Chapter 376, trucks, parking of.
On the question, Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to send this back to committee as we are working on another section of our code, Chapter 390, and we should work on both in tandem. Thank you.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Bob Dennison. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of sending this back to committee?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sent back to committee. Then moving to the first reading of local law number 1 of 2026.
Local Law 1 of 2026 of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Section 1 through 3 and Section 1 through 9 of the Code of the City of Kingston.
All right, that concludes our communications. Before we conclude our council meeting, does anyone have anybody that they would like to close in memory of? Jeannie Edwards, then Bob, and then Steve.
Thank you, President. I'd just like to recognize Father Frank, who passed away this week. I had a very good relationship with him for many years through the building department, through our community, doing community outreach. Father Frank was a one-of-a-kind man. He helped everyone, not just the immigrants of the city. He helped people that were longstanding here, generational. And he fed people. He believed in housing for all. He believed in our natural abilities to help each other. And he's to be remembered and highly honored for all the outreaches that he has caused for all of us and each one of our wards. Everyone knows Father Frank. The food, he started a food bank on Wednesdays. I remember it starting, and it was started out with like 20 people. Now it goes around the block. And that just shows what kind of times we are in today. He had a special spot in his heart for the Latino immigrant community. Plus, I remember him helping a couple of Polish immigrants here in Kingston, and he had a great sense of humor. But if he came up against them for one of the people, you know, he really was a tiger. He could move mountains. He can make miracles happen. And I just want to keep him in our hearts because he was a man to be honored.
Thank you, Jeannie.
I was going to mention Father Frank as well. There's nothing really that I should add to Jeannie's obituary. He was a force in the city and a good one.
Thank you. Steve?
Okay, thank you, Madam President. This will be my last installment of Let's Hear About Alderman Shabbat's childhood. And here's my last one, and this does go back quite a ways. A friend, Scott Serrano, passed away very suddenly. Sadly, he was 10 years younger than me. I knew most of his family. I've known his wife for a long time. I grew up with his brothers-in-laws. We played Little League together. You know, very, very Kingston kind of thing. Scott worked 35 years for Ametek Rotron as a mechanical designer. Sadly, he retired in 2022, so he really didn't get much of a chance to enjoy his retirement. He was active in golf, and actually, I really got to know him a lot better because he was one of the founders of the golf league that I have played in for the last 20 years or so. Of note, one of Scott's relatives, Emilio Juni Primo, was an alderman. I'm not sure what it was. It's the 8th ward now. I'm not sure what it was back in the 60s, but Emilio Primo was a fiery alderman. That's his father-in-law. He leaves behind his wife, Lena. They just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary very recently. Scott also has 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Sad to see him go.
Thanks, Steve. Rennie, and then Michael.
I'd like to close in memory of Jack DeJeanette, the drummer, partly because his daughter, or mostly because his daughter Minya lives in Ward 3 right here in Kingston. He was just an absolute force of nature. He played with the great names of jazz of the late 20th century, from Miles Davis to Sun Ra to Keith Jarrett. He was named as an NEA Jazz Master, made his own records, played on other people's records, and held a series of concerts toward the end of his life here in Kingston. And his generosity and kindness were very much in evidence in the way that he ran those shows. And I know that he was an amazing person because his daughter, Minya, carries the same passion that he had for music into social justice and the work that she does as an acupuncturist. So I'd like to remember him on this day, and as well as his daughter, Minya.
Thank you. He's a great loss to the jazz world for sure. Michael?
Thank you, President Schott. I wanted to add on to the memory of Father Frank that Alderwoman Edwards said so well. He spoke before all of us on May 6th, and he told us that we are commanded to love our neighbor, to welcome the stranger, to ensure the vulnerable, and especially the poor, the widow, the orphan, the outcast, are not cast aside, but lifted up. And when we offer shelter to the least of us, we do it unto Christ. And I think his spirit will live on in Kingston, in this room, and in all of us. That was May 6th. He speaks about an hour in. I would encourage everybody to hear his words right from his mouth and really take them to heart.
Thank you. Anyone else? Drew?
Thank you. Thank you all for mentioning Father Frank. He was a man of honor, and I aspire to be as kind and compassionate and empathetic as he was. Jack DeJohnette as well. Thank you for mentioning that, because he invited all of us. I mean, at one point, he invited me and all of our kids and families to one of his shows in Woodstock. And I said, I have like 50 kids, but they only gave us 10 tickets. He said, don't worry about it. He said, bring them. I'll be at the door. He let all of us in, and then an extra 20 parents. I mean, we took up so much room. And he was just smiling, just proud that he was supporting our Kingston youth. So, you know, fond memories of Jack, and knowing the work that Father Frank did he was amazing. And again, he did the work, and I aspired to follow in his footsteps. And so today being, I think, the last day we're all here together.
Nope. You
No?
have to show up December 17th.
Well, I'll be here on the 17th.
Yeah,
but I
this is
still
not the
wanna-
last time.
I still want to publicly give a shout out, because it's an honor to serve the community from this seat. You know, I never
There will be time to do, I mean, you could do it
I
now,
can
but I
do
am
that.
allowing time on the 17th. too.
will we be here in the
Yes.
chambers at that time? So
Yep.
I should wait until that point.
Yeah.
Okay, Pres. No, okay. All right. So I want, yeah, I have to give my last hurrah before, we tie it all up. But I'm going to ask, now that everyone is all looking spiffy, that we take a final picture together, because that'll be great, right? I mean, you guys look pretty sharp, and I think that'll be good. You know me. I got to do it like that. So on the 17th. I'll share
The
what I
17th,
wrote,
you can-
okay?
I'll share
Thank-
mine and you can share yours.
Thank you,
the
Prez. Okay.
Speech, thank you. Anyone else before we adjourn until December 17th, when you all have to come back here? Anyone else? Then I will take a motion to adjourn. A motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Drew Andrews. All in favor? Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. Thank you all very much.